Cutscene 8. Missing. Where is she? Exalarica's question awoke Luzmo. He blinked slowly and sat up. What? He said. Vila's gone. You know where she is? Exalarica asked. He shook his head. Maybe she just had something to do. It was far too early for questions. Exalarica shook her head. No, she'd have told me. Exalaro went missing too. Jarissa, she's called. Luzmo did not comment on Jarissa's disappearance. Secretly, he was glad, hoping she would find her way home. Sio had shown them how to get into the Forest of the Sword, so they had needed to get Soledi to help them find their way through the forest. Their chosen method of doing this was kidnapping and enslaving them in all but name. Luzmo had immediately hated what they were doing and had talked about it with Vila. She said she did not like it either. They understood that they needed to be able to navigate the forest, but the way the Soledi were treated was practically totalitarian, something Luzmo could confirm. All of them were missing at least one foot, so it would be harder for them to escape, and Jarissa in particular had lost an eye. Because of what was done to them, they were all small children, which were much easier to catch and carry. The oldest was only 12. Unfortunately, he had already agreed to work with them, and he had heard enough stories of Exalaro to know that leaving was not an option. He did wish he could, though. Even after 4 years with Exalarica and Lord Gregicica, he was still homesick. The only thing he liked about Sio showing them to the Forest of the Sword was that he had stopped having to move around. Exalarica gasped, muttering a word the friars would not have approved of under her breath. She's betrayed us! Luzmo looked up, feeling much more awake. What? Vila left us! She's betrayed us! He blinked. Really? You know anything about this? Her gaze went to him, he assumed, her tone accusatory. What? No, course not, he said nervously. He started fidgeting with his medal. He had known something was wrong, but he had not thought that she would leave. Well, he could understand why she would leave. They had both complained several times about how the Soledi were treated and how Exalarica solved too many problems with her knife. But he had not thought she would actually do it, especially without telling them. Vila had returned from a mission with Exalarica the day before. Someone had gotten too close to the truth of what was happening and had needed to be taken care of. Vila did not like it very much. Exalarica was solving a problem with her knife again. But again, Exalarica solved problems with her knife. Refusing was not an option. When she left, she had been a little annoyed, but when she came back, it looked like she had been crying. Her tone was flat, and she answered his questions in monosyllables. He had wanted to comfort her, to ask her what had happened, but she just said she was fine. Luzmo might have been about as good at reading tones as he was at reading words, but he knew she was lying. He had not wanted to press her, though. Are you sure? You two are quite close, Exalarica said. Her tone let him know just how close she thought they were. Luzmo blushed. He did enjoy Vila's company. It felt like she was the only person other than the friars who understood him. He did not even feel that way with Gregicica. He liked that Vila almost never wore her mask. He had enough trouble reading people without them obscuring their faces. She didn't say nothing to you? Exalarica continued. Didn't tell you she was going to leave? Didn't tell you what happened? Luzmo shook his head, eyes wide. Exalarica was a dangerous girl. No, she didn't say nothing. She didn't want to talk about it. Really? Don't lie to me, monk boy. Her hand was hovering over her knife. I ain't lying. And I was raised by friars. Luzmo could not see her face, but he could feel the force of her glare. Haven't you learned yet? I don't care. He shrank back. Sorry. You said that last time, she said, annoyed, and all the times before that. Exalaro, what is happening? Lord Gregicica walked over. Luzmo tried to scramble to his feet, but the snow had started melting, and he slipped and fell. He stood again, slower. She sighed and stood straight. Vila and Jarissa have gone missing, and I think I know why. She glanced at Luzmo. I don't know nothing, Luzmo protested. Do you, boy? Do you know nothing? Asked Lord Gregicica. He avoided the Rosenna's gaze. No, my lord. Tell me the truth. I have not the patience for liars, and I do not want to have to use blood magic, as I am sure you do not. Luzmo flinched. She was acting strange after she came back with Exalarica, but she didn't say why. I don't know nothing else. Lord Gagaloso paused for a second. I think he is telling the truth, he said, finally. Luzmo sighed with relief, pausing in his fidgeting. If she had told him what she planned to do, he would have gone with her, Lord Gagaloso continued. Luzmo stiffened, chewing on his cheek so hard he was worried he would draw blood. Exalarica's hand was dangerously close to her knife. So what was you saying? Her tone sounded just as dangerous. Please don't at me. I haven't done nothing, Luzmo said. No, but if she had asked, would you have accepted? Lord Gagaloso said. He shook his head. No, my lord, I wouldn't. Maybe. But do you really mean that? Or are you just saying it? Exalarica asked. I do. I wouldn't leave. Lord Gagaloso sighed. You say that, but it is impossible to know if you are telling the truth or are trying to survive. Exalarica laughed dryly. I was raised by monks. Luzmo was cut off by her glaring at him, probably, and drawing her knife. Anyway, he was raised by monks. Do you really think he'd be doing any of this if we weren't threatening him? Fries, he muttered. Are you trying to get killed or not? Well, it is certainly possible, said Lord Gagaloso. Him working with us if we were not threatening him, I mean. She looked up. Really? A boy raised in a monastery working with us of his own free will? It was a... Luzmo was cut off by Exalarica grabbing his collar and pressing her knife against his throat. If the next words out of your mouth are Ferrari, I will kill you, she nearly growled. Let him go, Exalarica, Lord Gagaloso said, and for goodness sake, do not kill him. She sighed, lowering her knife, and shoved Luzmo away. He scrambled to keep his balance on the wet ground. The spring thaw had come, and the melting snow made the ground slippery. Now, he could be working with us because he wants to, but we cannot know for sure, Lord Gagaloso said. Perhaps he does not even know. So what will we do with him? Kill him? Track down Vila and say we will unless she comes back? Might send a good message to anyone else who might want to leave. Exalarica glanced at Luzmo when she said that last line. She would not kill him, but he did not need to know that. But I haven't done nothing, Luzmo protested. Lord Gagaloso glared at him. Quiet. He looked back to Exalarica. Anyway, no, we will not kill him. That does not solve every problem. He did not add why else they could not. Exalarica sighed. Really, Gagaloso? Is that all you think I do? Lord Gagaloso narrowed his eyes. Lord Gagaloso, Exalarica, how many times must I tell you? Anyway, those were literally your suggestions. So what do you suggest? He thought for a moment. Keep him here and make sure he does not leave. He looked at Luzmo. Do you hear that, boy? No more running off to Lucaria. Luzmo stiffened, his eyes going wide. He wondered if this was a valid excuse to miss Lucaria or not, and started chewing on his cheek again while analyzing the object, intention, and circumstance of this action. If we find Vila Delia, bring her back and make sure she stays as well, Lord Gagaloso continued. Exalarica tilted her head. She might have been frowning. No, we can't let her live. She's a Soledo. If there's one thing we're good at, it's sneaking around and sneaking out. Luzmo had concluded that his culpability was mitigated by the fact he would probably get killed if they caught him sneaking off. He sighed. All right, fine, we will kill her. I will, she insisted. Fine, you will kill her. And if we find that Soledo, well, you know what to do when they try to escape. Exalarica made a sound almost like a chuckle, examining her knife. She took out a pear and cut it with clean, precise motion. Luzmo sighed, relieved he was at least safe, but he sent up a prayer for his friend, that she would stay safe and hidden. Then, when that had passed, he felt sadness. His only friend had left. He was alone again. Why did he always end up alone? First, he had been taken from the friars, and now this, the disappearance of Vila, his best, and only, friend, though perhaps friend was not the right word. Exalarica certainly thought so.